Join us for the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Coogan Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
you get up, you dress up, and you fucking show up.
This is COLM McGuigan for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Delighted to be joined by Eduardo Hernandez, not the fighter that made an absolute statement tonight. Talk to me about that first of all.
I mean, we have got a lot of beasts in this Mexican division, but in the super featherweight division, we have two particular beasts. Eduardo Hernandez and, of course, Sugar Nunes as well. I mean, Hernandez is a... Here he comes. What? Oh. Frank Smith's a plum, isn't he? Most dislikable man in boxing. Eduardo Hernandez is a beast. He's ready for a shot at the world title. He's already mandatory to O'Shaquie Foster. I think that's a tremendous fight. He stopped a kid tonight, a lightweight who'd never been stopped, fought Haney, fought everybody, and he just dismantled him. Super talent, and a lot of talent on show. Of course, particularly Diego Pacheco. I just thought that was an unbelievable performance tonight.
What could be next for Diego Pacheco? You know, speaking to Frank there, he said about SoFi Stadium, the YouTube theatre in there. Is that something that you want to do next to him?
Frank's got absolutely no say, but what I'll do is the Diego Pacheco fought a Brit in England and headlined in Jack Cullen, fought a Mexican tonight in Mexico and headlined. We'll be taking him back to LA, South Central. He deserves it now, and I truly believe that was a performance against a very strong, tough 168-pounder in a small ring, and the kid has a chin like granite, Gallegos. And I just said to him, just chop him down, just work the body. The punch selection, the composure, everything. And he took a few tonight as well. It told me everything I needed to know about Diego underneath the hype. And we signed this kid at 17, he's 22 now. I'm absolutely 100% convinced he's going to be a world champion at 168 pounds. I think he's an unbelievable fighter.
Would you be interested in working again with Terry going forward? Obviously bringing him over here, Gallegos over. Would you work with Terry going forward?
Yeah, Terry's a character, and you know he represents a lot of fighters. Gallegos as well. You two are bantering, but you know, I'll tell you, Gallegos was super tough. Great chin, great engine, great opponent for Diego. And like I said, in that small ring, 16 foot by 16 foot. You had to keep your composure, and honestly, I thought it was a standout performance from Diego Pacheco.
Likely opponent next, someone like maybe Paddy McCrory, Jason Quigley, someone like that?
All of those guys. You know, I think look, he wants to fight all the big names, and I think you'll see that in 2024. You know, I didn't think about Quigley, but yeah, Paddy McCrory, Shane Mosley Jr. There's loads of guys at 168, but a nice step up for him now against a known name. I think, because I think this kid's profile is going to go through the roof, and you'll see with the numbers he'll draw in Los Angeles. I think he's the next superstar at 168 pounds.
Joe Cordina tweeted tonight about the kind of miscommunication between yourselves and him. Can you elaborate on that a little?
Yeah, it's not really a miscommunication. I mean, look, Joe's frustrated because he wants a unification fight. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work like that in boxing. I mean, we paid a lot of money for a Gower to come to Joe's backyard to get him a shot for the world title. He won that fight, it was brilliant. You know, we all know what happened. He broke his hand, he got stripped. Then we paid a load of money for Rakimov to get Rakimov and Barrett together. Then we paid another load of money for Rakimov to come to Wales again so Joe could get another shot. And unfortunately at the moment, being in Cardiff Arena in end of September, October, you just cannot make the O'Shaquie Foster fight. With what Joe wants, with what O'Shaquie Foster fight wants, it's impossible. We've got to build towards fights like that. And I know Joe's frustrated, but we've still got a job to do on Joe to get him in those big money fights. And I want to see another defence. And you know, he's frustrated that he feels like we want to put him in a domestic defence. But when you look at the options to defend against, people like Zelfa Barrett and Kakachi, I think are more relevant and build a bigger show, a bigger night than someone you've never heard of. So, you know, I think we may try and work with O'Shaquie Foster to do the Hernandez fight and then make the Cordina fight next. But it's not just as easy as win the belt, unify, you know, everything in your hometown. Like, we have to do a job to build Joe, and he wants massive money for the unification fight. Rightfully so. So does O'Shaquie Foster. I mean, at the moment, those numbers are a million miles away from making that happen while we're in Cardiff Indoor Arena with 4,500, 5,000. We need to go outdoors. We need to do that in the spring, summer of 2024. So we need to keep him busy, keep the momentum, make a statement. And I'd like to do that against a domestic fighter, but there's other fighters out there as well. Maurizio Lara, But for me, the names that I've put forward, of course, Selfa Barrett is part of our team. I love the fights. Cardiff against Manchester is a good fight, but Joe wants the big fights ASAP, but it doesn't always work like that.
Jamel Herring tweeted him. I then reached out to Jamel and asked him, is he serious about it? He said, yeah, he would be open to it from September. Is that something that you would do?
I haven't really thought about it. I mean, I think Jamel Herring is a great fighter, but I think he's done in the sport now and, he should retire. But I want to keep the momentum. Joe Cordina has had 2 sensational victories. He's a 2-time world champion. I think he's the number 1 fighter in the 130-pound division. But we've got to keep the momentum. And like I said, it doesn't just work like, hometown championship fight, unification fight. We've got to build those numbers and make sure we can bring those champions to Wales.
Ryan Garcia tweeted tonight about the Regis Prograis fight. Is that one that you're looking to make, or is Haney the front runner?
I mean, look, we've made an offer to Devin and Bill Haney. I think we're close on that fight. I spoke to Devin tonight. I'm seeing him in Los Angeles this week. Ryan Garcia has now reached out to fight Regis Prograis. I've got Jack Hatchell and Sam Jones driving me mad. Now, Regis Prograis is in a great position right now, probably because of a subpar performance. Do you know what I mean? So Devin wants that fight with Regis Prograis. It's a massive fight for DAZN. Ryan Garcia wants to fight with Regis Prograis. We'll speak to his team. We haven't yet, but we'll see what happens. Jack Hatchell, I'd love to make that fight as well. So, you're going to see Regis Prograis in a huge fight in the back end of this year.
What do you do with Catterall in this situation then if he doesn't get his chance again?
Regis Prograis has been ordered to fight Sandor Martin, which is not the fight we want. And the only way the WBC won't make that fight is if he fights Devin Haney. They've put that in writing. So obviously our focus is on making the Devin Haney fight. Jack Catterall will fight in September, October. If it's not against Regis Prograis, it'll be a big fight in Manchester. Same with him. He's been inactive for a long time. We've got to keep the momentum. Fights don't just happen the way you want them all the time. So the key is to make great money, to stay active, to drive your value, to drive your profile, to keep improving whilst you wait for those big fights, but to make the fights relevant, not just a tick-over fight where you can't perform. And, Jack will be in a big fight next, whatever happens.
Felix Kai's rumoured to have left Tony Sims. First of all, is that true? And what do you do in this situation? Do you still plan to make that Austin Williams fight? Yeah,
that is true. And, I think he'll make an announcement on his future soon in terms of trainer, etc. We want him to fight Amo Williams on August the 12th. We have another opponent standing by if he doesn't take that. But Felix Cash's career has been very disappointing in the way it's stalled. A couple of moments have not been his fault. A couple of moments have been his fault. He stopped Denzel Bentley in 2 rounds, battered him, and it was a great performance. And we haven't got the momentum. So the Amo Williams fight is a massive fight, but we need to know if Felix will be ready. And Frank's speaking to him and awaiting that news.
Who's the first headliner in the US after the Alicia Baumgardner fight in Detroit?
Could be Dimitri Bivol, could be Devin Haney. One of those guys.
So the Haney Prograis fight could land before Bivol?
Maybe. We'll have to speak to Regis, but you're definitely going to see that fight between September and I think November.
We spoke before after Ryder Canelo, and you said about maybe Triple G. You'd like to see that fight. Any discussions? Anything happening there?
No, I mean, I think John Ryder's ready for all those big fights. He had a great performance against Canelo. We've reached out to a number of people. I think he'll land a big fight next, Berlanga Munguia, but we'd like to make Berlanga Munguia fight, obviously, with DAZN and Golden Boy as well. So I think you'll see John in a big fight next for sure.
DAZN schedule likely this week or the week after?
Yeah, I mean, we've already cracked probably 3 fights this week that are a massive part of that schedule. It's just such a great schedule coming from August to December. Will we announce it this week? Maybe, definitely by the end of the week after. Massive fights, massive nights of British boxing, and we're ready to really do a number on the scene and give subscribers great value.
What's the Dublin undercard look like for Taylor Cameron at the end of November? Jason Quigley, Paddy McCrory, potentially?
I mean, I think Jason Quigley's put in a great performance. Obviously, look, Gary Cully wants the rematch. It's a very, very dangerous fight, but I love it. If he wants to have that rematch, it's a massive fight for the card. Thomas Carty in a big fight, Paddy Donovan in a big fight, maybe Kevin Ajarko against Troy Williamson is a fight we want to make. We've offered that to both guys. We're ready to make that fight. Yeah, it's going to be a thrilling undercard on Taylor Cameron. We're tying everything up at the moment and hopefully get that announced soon.
AJ Whyte pre-sale, how'd that go?
Massive. It's the biggest pre-sale in the history of O2 boxing. There's another pre-sale tomorrow of AXS, Fight Pass, Matchroom Fight Pass, and then general sale on Monday. This fight will be sold out within an hour or two of going on general sale. It's an absolute monster of a fight. You will see from the ticket sales, you will see from the pay-per-view numbers, this fight is massive and could have sold out Wembley Stadium easily. Well done to everyone that makes their way to O2. If you're not there, you can watch it live on the Zone.
Looking towards Detroit, final one from me. Big show for Alicia Baumgardner in her hometown. What are you expecting there?
Yeah, I think Alicia Baumgardner is one of the standout stars in the sport, not just in female boxing, but in boxing in general. It's a really tough fight against Lennard too. Obviously, it's the only defeat on Alicia Baumgardner's resume. It's a great card. Jermaine Franklin's back there, Mark Castro as well, and Andy Cruz making his debut in a really tough fight for a debutant. So big night of action in Detroit. Of course, Alicia Baumgardner's coming home. It's going to be packed out at the Masonic Temple. We head back to London for the press conference for AJ against Whyte, and go straight back out to LA for meetings and the ESPYs as well, and then go to Detroit. And then I think we've got a week off after that, so that'll be sweet. But a great night in Mexico, and looking forward to a big night in Detroit. And a big announcement, obviously, with AJ Whyte, and some big announcements coming. We're going to smash up the back end of the year.
Eduardo Hernandez, muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. Muy bien, gracias. Tranquilo, cabrón.
Join us for the very first IFL Live at London's Indigo at the O2, Sunday, August the 13th, with me, Kugan Cassius, and some very special guests. Eddie Hearn, Darren Barker, Johnny Fisher, and more. Tickets now on sale. So in the words of Eddie Hearn,
You get up, you dress up, and you fucking show up.